Hey guys. Hopefully you can hear me okay. We are trying something different. That's right. We're using my good vlogging camera for Tech Talk Tuesday. So I'm hoping that you guys can see me better. So and hopefully the audio's there. So if the audio doesn't show up, let me know, because that would be not good. So anyways, what's this Tech Talk Tuesday about? This Tech Talk Tuesday is all about Cummins engines. This is actually an old brochure. This is the pre-2021 EPA. I said a few times, and I just did it again. Gosh, I got to stop saying So yeah, pre-EPA. Hey, from Alabama. Afternoon, Mike. It's there, loud and clear. Perfect. So 2021 emissions, which would be 2022 truck model year, things have changed. I know, shocker, things have changed in the truck world. So these are the old brochures for the X15. So what I wanted to do is talk about the X15 and some of the things that have changed, because the X15 of 2022 is not your X15 of 1918, but they didn't have X15s back then. 2019 and 2020. So basically, what are we talking about? So Cummins has 3 series. They've got the efficiency series, they've got the productivity series, and then they've got the performance series, and then they've got essentially another engine, which is the Big Kahuna. Now, Cummins didn't call it the Big Kahuna because they said, you know what? If we call it the Big Kahuna, people might get it confused with going to Hawaii. No, they didn't actually say that, but essentially it's the, I got some information here for a cheat sheet. So I've got it up on my computer monitor. It's called the X600. I know, I didn't even know that, but the 605 horsepower now is called an X600. And the reason for that is a 600 horsepower engine, 605. It used to be the same as a performance series engine. So like, you know, back when these brochures were valid, pre-2021 emission, you had 2 platforms. You had the efficiency and you had the performance. And the 605 fell into the performance category. Whereas now for 2021, the 605, it's still technically a performance engine, but there are a few changes. And I'm going to read it off the list because I ain't that good. And, you know, I just used the word ain't, so I ain't that good at English and either. So essentially, maybe I'll just move the camera around. Oh, look at that. And I got a longer cord, so I can move things. So, and this is what I'm looking at. So this is my graph. Where did it go? Did I just zoom in? Did I just do that? No. Anyways, oh, hey, you can see me. But maybe you're not using the camera. Dang it. Why is life so hard? Okay, so I've got the camera going, but it's not live on that. It's on my computer. You know what? Some days technology is just hard. So nice idea, Mike. And I don't think I can change it once we're already going. I know, right? He's a salesman. He's not a tech guy. Let me make sure there we go. Sorry about that. Clean my lens. So, gosh, what a doorknob too. And I brought the camera just for that reason. I tell you. Anyways, you can't have looks and smarts all at the same time, right? You know what? You might have the looks, but you might not necessarily, you know, and you know, anyways, you guys don't need to hear it. We're talking about engines. So I'll hold it up this way. There's my information. Just because I wanted to touch base on it. So you guys know the differences between the Cummins series. So the X600, which is now the 605 horsepower engine. Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it. You know, I'm trying to make better quality videos, which is why I brought my good camera and I got it tied into my laptop. But I didn't scroll through and go, oh yeah, I want to use the Canon camera. Click. Next Tuesday. We'll do it next Tuesday. Or maybe we'll just do it sometime during the week for fun. So yeah, the X600, the reason why it's kind of its own special engine is it's actually got a few different things from a regular performance engine. So it's got a different lubricating oil pump. It's got different piston cooling nozzles. The housing, thermostat, and water pump are different. And the reason for this is for heat, because the X600, I keep calling it the 605, and it's 605 horsepower, but it's called an X600. So the X600 has some extra components for heat. Now, the 600 horse is only at 1800 RPM, which is why it's in a performance series engine. So, and I probably just confused you guys more, but what is the difference between, like, how can you quickly tell the difference between an efficiency series engine and a performance series engine? Is your horsepower rating. So an efficiency series engine, the horsepower rating will end in a 0, and a Cummins engine, a performance series engine will end in a 5. So if it's a 565, 525, 505, it's based off a performance series. And if it's a 500, 400, 450, then it's efficiency series. Now, they've got a performance series. Your torque starts at 1,000 RPM, goes up to 1,900 RPM. So your maximum RPM is 1,900 RPM in a performance series. Now, the key is, or the kicker here, is an efficiency series. Now, just an efficiency series, your maximum RPM is 1,700 RPM. So this is a very critical thing, because if you've got a manual transmission now and you get an efficiency series engine, your maximum RPM is 1,700 RPM. Works great with automated transmissions, reduces fuel consumption, this whole down speeding thing. But the kicker is your maximum RPM is 1,700. So if you've got a manual transmission and you're shifting gears, 1,700 RPM is going to be a proper pain in the butt, because you don't have that RPM range for shifting manually. So that's where Cummins came out with the productivity series. And now with the productivity series, it actually goes to 2,000 RPM. And technically the X600 is a productivity series, but I just wanted to clarify some things, because there are so many differences, and really an efficiency series and a productivity series. So if you're looking for fuel economy, but you've got a manual transmission, you should be getting a productivity series. If you just want horsepower and performance, and it's like, then performance is still the good way to go. But you got to take a look at the productivity series, because, that RPM to go up to 2,000 RPM is something to consider. So, and this is all just Cummins X15. So, it's all about the Cummins. Cummins is the bread and butter. Well, at least for me anyways, because 99.9% of what I sell is the 565 2050 torque performance series engine. But when you look at the productivity series, you really have to take a long look at, is that going to be better for my application? Especially if if you're not up to the 2050 torque, and it's kind of handy, really, because you can dial your engine in to exactly what you want. Now, the kicker is you can't change your horsepower ratings now. So with Cummins for 2021 EPA, which is 2022 model year trucks, because when they go by engine arrangements, it's the actual year, unlike manufacturers where it's like, you know what, I know it's 2021, but we're going to call our trucks a 2022 just to make life more confusing. So I hate that. Back in 1980, when Dad bought a new truck, I remember he waited until January, because if he waited until January, it was a 1980 model year. Whereas if he bought it in December, it was a 1979 model year. I kind of like that, to tell you the truth. So now it's kind of like that, except you wait till January to get your, like, guys might want to wait till January to get your 2024 truck, even though it's only 2023. But, and actually right now you could wait till January, but I still can't get your truck. Can't quote your truck. Can't guarantee you're going to get a truck. I mean, technically I could put you on the list, and whoever's first on the list, or whoever's nice to me and is first on the list and, sends me lavish gifts. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to send me gifts to get on the list, but if you did, it couldn't hurt, right? No, can't do that. There's probably rules about that. Small unmarked bills and brown paper bag, just saying. No, I still can't get you a truck, and you'd have to be in BC. So, Mike, which Cummins X15 is best for 389 performance or efficiency? Or is it productivity? It depends what you're hauling. It truly does. The efficiency engine is a great engine, but it would be more so if you have an automated transmission behind it. I'm going to slide my computer down because I just realized this header piece is right there. So, gosh, I tell you, technology these days, it's hard. You can probably tell I'm pushing 50. Next thing you know, I'm going to be wearing slip-on shoes with white socks. Too late. I've already got there. Sorry, you guys didn't need to see that. But hi, Mike. In early process of ordering a new 389 heavy spec 565 2050 torque, what kind of delay in builds are you hearing? Well, see, now this is a key. And I know we're taking a segue from the Cummins engines, but it depends. It depends on your dealer and what quarter you can go in. So like right now, basically, like for my branch, Prince George is full. So January through December of this year is full. Now, that being said, we've given, well, actually I have to have the list by, I think it's February 18th to Peterbilt for my wish list for all our trucks. And then like we have to work with our executive, so our dealer group, call it. We have to meet the criteria to make sure it's like, oh, you got enough of these and enough of those. So then we got to get it all together and say, okay, here's what we want. And then Peterbilt Motors will go, yes, well, you will get your trucks and you will get your trucks and no trucks for you. No, it's not quite like that. We just have criteria we need to meet, to round everything off, because you figure it, if you've only got so many parts for a 579, you don't want someone ordering all 579s. You got to have a nice little mix. You got to have a few 389s, a few 367s, a few 579s, maybe a few MX, maybe a few Cummins. So yeah, that's what we have to do. And when you ask how long is it going to take, it's really up to whoever you're buying it from. Because like, say last week, I was able to get an extra chassis, and I called my customer and I said, I got an extra chassis for Q2. Do you want it? And he's like, yeah, here's my checkbook. So availability could be fairly quick if the dealer that you're working with gets the opportunity for another allocation. And this is where I'm going to segue, and I know we're getting off topic of the Cummins, but be nice to your salesman, be good to your dealer group. Don't be an a-hole. And it's frustrating for everybody, but honestly, I was going to say the squeaky wheel gets the grease, which it kind of does, but it's also, if somebody has, okay, think of it this way. You've got, I'm going to do an analogy and you guys are going to love this one, or you're going to think I'm crazy. So imagine all my fingers are customers and they're all like, hey, Mike, we want a truck. Blah, blah, blah. And then this guy's like, you got to get me a truck and I want it this, and oh, that's too much money. And and you go, well, I've got one truck, but he doesn't need to get it. And then these guys are like, this guy's like, oh, hey, Mike, you know what? Whatever you got, just let me know. I'm easy going. And then you're like, I got one truck. You know what? It's a good thing I'm using this finger. He's like, you know what? I want to help Mr. Pinky because he's being nice to me and he understands and is just easygoing. So I guess that's where I say, be kind to your salespeople. And if you got a good sales guy, he'll look after you. So when can you get a 389? I have no idea. But if the dealer group you have has some allocation and you're a good customer and you're not an a-hole, odds are you're going to get one sooner than if you're a jerk. So that's just it. I remember a friend of mine worked for a Jeep dealer, a Dodge Jeep dealer, and he was a service advisor. And he was telling me about the a-hole tax. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, if you're an a-hole, there's no discount. Or, sometimes they would, well, I don't know if they would bump it up, but there would be no discount. It wouldn't be like adjusting the hours. So And I'm not saying that that's right, but the reality is of human nature. If you treat someone like crap, they're not going to help you out. If you treat them all right, then and you can still have issues and voice your concerns without being an a-hole. So I guess that would be my advice is, you know, talk to your local dealer, work with them, and you know what? I'm sure your salesman will do the best he can to get it. So, and let's see what Josh says. Dave, do most Peterbilt dealers can service Cummins X15 engines more than PACCAR MXing for service and maintenance? Basically, any PACCAR dealer. Hi, Mike. Did you have any luck with the links for the Kenworth bug parts I put in the comments last video? Sorry, I'm getting segued here on two different things. So first, I'll talk about the Cummins versus MX15. Any Peterbilt dealer can work on both Cummins and MX engines. There shouldn't be any difference as far as, you know, service, which one you're going to get more service or less. Dealers should carry parts for both. The one thing that I do like about Cummins, though, is the fact that every OEM sells Cummins. So your availability to parts is greater. Like say a town like mine, Prince George, British Columbia, you come in with an MX engine, and you're like, my oil, or I guess you wouldn't say my oil cooler shot, because you might not know it's shot. And I'm just using this an example. Whereas we go, oh, the oil cooler's gone in your truck. We don't have one in inventory. So then we're like, okay, who else is an MX dealer in this town? We call up Kenworth and we say, hey, you got a MX engine cooler, oil cooler. And they say, gosh, yeah, we do. And we can get it from, or they go, gosh, no, we don't. And they're like, oh, so we go back in and we can get one out of Seattle, which Seattle's not that far away. But so hypothetically, same thing happens with a Cummins where you go, oh, we don't have an oil cooler for a Cummins. So then we say, we can call Kenworth. No, we don't have one. So we can call Western Star. No, we don't have one. We can call Freightliner. No, we don't have one. Or we can call the Volvo Mac dealer and they say, oh, yeah, we got one. And it's like, yeah, that's because you don't sell any trucks here because nobody wants them. Sorry, no negativity towards Mac and Volvo, but they're not very popular in my neck of the woods. Just saying. You know, it's reality. You know, there's that tier level. You got number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and then some down here. But yeah, so your availability to parts that might be in inventory, dealers that can work on it is much greater. If you're in a small town and there's only one OEM, odds are they're going to be able to work on your Cummins engine. So that would say would be the best thing about a Cummins over an MX. With regards to my bug for my cab over, I did see the link. Thank you very much. And a subscriber from Australia, and hopefully I said that right, or less offensive, I'm going to say, because I'm not very politically correct. You know, sometimes I try to be, you know, a little more correct, but yeah, a subscriber from Australia actually has the grill piece and he's sending it. And oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. So I don't know how long it's going to take to come from Australia. It could surprise you. It might come quicker than out of Memphis because it seems like when parts come out of Memphis, it takes forever. So at least I think it's Memphis. Maybe there's not even a part center in Memphis. Maybe that's just what they say. Oh yeah, we got one in Memphis. It'll be here in 14 billion years. But anyways, getting off topic. So hopefully that's not too confusing. Keynotes. Efficiency series ends with a 0. Performance series ends with a 5. And the 600, even though it's based on a performance series platform, it does have a few extras to deal with cooling because they do get hotter because they're so hot. I was just about to say, just like me, that's why, no, that's why I sweat a lot because I don't have extra cooling. Just got to, I really need to work on that too, you know, but what do you do? Guy stuff, eh? Last night we ended up having McDonald's. Oh, here's a fun fact. My daughter Piper passed her driver's test. So now she still got to drive for 2 years before she's officially a class 5 driver and doesn't have an N on her sticker. It's kind of like the scarlet letter, but it's not. It just means you're a new driver. So we got rid of the L so she doesn't have to drive with me anymore. She can drive by herself. It's kind of scary. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be kind of nice though, too, because I didn't have to drive her to school this morning. So yeah, proud of my daughter. She got her N. So now she drives with the N sticker on her car for 2 years. And then she has to take a driver's test to make sure that, you know, she's not going to run over little old ladies, unless she already did run over a little old lady, which hopefully she didn't, because then they'd probably take her license away. But But yeah, so the Cummins engine, the productivity series, it's something to take a look at. I know I'm saying a lot, but realistically, where the real difference is in your RPM levels. So I'm changing how I do things. Where if I no, you can't order. Sorry, Ray. Hey, Ray was just asking if you can order a 389 with Cat. No, Cat is out of the truck engine market for now. Anyways, I don't know if they're ever coming back. I think, well, I know they were in international, but let's face it, who's going to buy an international? Well, I guess actually I do know someone that bought an international. But yeah, Cat partnered up with International and the Max Force Max EGR, and it was terrible, like just terrible. Like the poor sales guys for International were starving to death, and yeah, wasn't good. So, but I read somewhere a logging company is running the Packer MX-13 in their 880s. Yes, Devin, I've actually got customers with the MX-13 in their 567s because they're better looking than an 880. And you know what? They work just fine. Like, and that's where I don't want to say that, it's not just a Cummins. Well, technically this is a Cummins Tech Talk Tuesday, but the MX engine has its place as well, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but it's a different animal. And Cummins, Cummins is a little bit confusing with having the 3 series, but really in today's market, it's because there's so many different applications. Like, and that's one thing that I think a lot of OEMs, including maybe Peterbilt, don't get, that, and especially politicians don't get it, but don't get me started on that, is there is no one thing fixes all. Like, let's face it, you guys know we have trucks doing all sorts of jobs. So a truck pulling, say, a 9-axle configuration in BC, maxed out at 72,000 kilograms, is going to need a different engine from one that's hauling, Amazon packages for Purelator or whoever. Conversely, you got fuel tankers, so you got trucks at 63.5. You've got trucks, maybe pulling a semi that are fully loaded. So you've got some that maybe pack 20,000 pounds, some that pack 60,000 pounds. So to just say we got one engine, that's it, no options, that's what you get, it works for everything. No, that's not how it works. And there's a reason why trucks are still a custom build, because if that was the case, we would just say, oh, I'm going to go buy a Peterbilt, and they would all look the same and do the same. But that's not how it works. And unfortunately, it's the people up here that seem to not understand that. And I'm going to say, like the government, like, oh, you got to meet these emission standards. And it's like, so your emission standards are the same for a truck hauling 20,000 pounds of Amazon cell phone covers and crap we don't need as a truck that's hauling, I'm going to use pounds, 140,000 pounds of raw materials to build your house or whatever. Like, it's retarded. It really is. I don't know if I'm allowed to use the word retarded, but I'm 50 and well, actually I'm not 50. Let's not talk about that, but I'm using the word retarded. So yeah, there you go. Politically correct, Mike? Nope, not. Can I get a DD16 in the 389 these days? No. And you'll probably never see a Detroit back in a Peterbilt, because Detroit bought out by Daimler. Daimler owns Freightliner and Western Star and Mercedes and all those other ones. But it's a proprietary engine now. And probably what we'll see is more of manufacturers carrying their own proprietary engines. So that's where, with Western Star and Freightliner, they probably push the Detroit, and well, actually you'll probably see it where they push the Detroit engine with the Detroit transmission and the Detroit rear diffs. Very much like Volvo pushes their Volvo engines, their I-shift transmissions, and it's like the whole package. I think gone are the days where you could, go into your dealership and pick between 2 engines. Well, certainly not 3 engines anymore, like back in, back in the day when it's like you could get a 60 series in a truck, you could get a Cat in a truck, or you could get a Cummins in a truck, and you could pick. It's gone. I mean, in a Peterbilt, you can still pick between an MX and a Cummins, But the problem is for the PACCAR product, and I'm saying the PACCAR product because it's the same for both. If you want high horsepower for heavy applications, there's only one engine, and that's Cummins. So that's why I love Cummins. Well, and actually, you know what? The other reason why I love Cummins is 600 brake horsepower, like hands down. Like customers I know that have Cummins in Detroit, they say the Detroit's not great, not a great engine brake. Certainly nowhere near the Cummins. I don't think the Detroits are all bad, but like anything, they have their issues. And I almost think that Cummins is better because it's not an OEM engine. And maybe my OEM people won't like that when I say that, but the reality is Cummins is kind of easier to work with, where, you know, it's kind of like as people grab, you know, get their fingers on different things, and it's like, okay, we control the engine and we control this, so we're not going to let you do this or that. Where Cummins doesn't, they don't own Cummins, so, you know, Cummins has to meet the guidelines, but Cummins is a lot easier to work with a customer in different applications. And I know I'm kind of getting a little bit off topic, but boat anchor is funny. The DD, well, yeah, what about the DD15? I'd almost, I guess it's just a smaller anchor. I would do a 567 or a T8 blah, blah, blah. Yep. Actually, I just talked to a customer and he's changing his order from a 389 to a 567 set forward because he likes the look of the truck. Your digital dash, all your electronics is the same in a 567 now as a 389 and everything. And you know what? He likes it. And it's the future. And I got to say, I almost think that the digital dash looks and works better in that series truck. But I mean, the 389 is still the 389. Don't get me wrong. I love the look of it, but the 5 Series, it's a great truck. So we're building a 567 set forward quad logger, custom paint. It's going to be wicked. I haven't done a lot of those, so he's going to be the first. So it's cutting edge. Well, maybe not cutting edge. I'm sure someone's done it, but Dennis says, buy a Scania 14-liter V8 for K2, Mike. That would be cool, but where do I get parts for a Scania? That's the only issue. So, yeah, seeing a ton of Peterbilts and videos of the Freedom Convoy. I get a sense more than any other make. Well, and you know, that's why Peterbilt is the king of the road, because it doesn't matter whether it's a convoy in the news, whether it's whether it's a TV show, whether it's, you know, the EPA putting out a book, whether it doesn't matter what it is. If it's anything to do with trucking, the 389 is right there. And that's just reality. Number one, well, certainly the number one owner operator truck. And I guess probably like with the Freedom Convoy too, it would be owner operator trucks, because let's face it, there's probably not many companies that are going to put their trucks out there, you know, when they have 100 trucks or whatever. So, so if it's an owner operator, yeah, they're going to have a Peterbilt, because Peterbilt is a king, baby. Yeah, I kind of sounded like Elvis there. It's a king, baby. But no, seriously, there is only one king, and that's Peterbilt, because it's the king of the road. So, don't get me wrong, there's other trucks that are okay, but that's why you see Peterbilt everywhere. Hell yes, the C16 600. Man, those were good days, eh? C16s, Signature 600. That's actually what I would like to put in K2, is a Signature 600, because they were like 2250 torque engines and what were they? Oh my gosh, it's been a while. Were they 615 horse or 620? They were more than 600. That was like real 600. But C16s and C16, a 600 C16 was a lot better engine than a C15 at 600 horsepower. Until the batteries that power it go dead, or did you mean the cat engine? I don't really know what you're saying there. You could buy a 389 and put your own 800 horsepower cat engine in. I actually have a customer that had a 2014 Peterbilt flat top. He pulled his Cummins ISX out and he dropped a C15 in it, which worked good until it blew up. He had that thing rebuilt 3 or 4 times. Now, I think they used some jobber parts, but yeah, he got rid of it because it was going to break him. So put a cat engine in it, and everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a cat. And yeah, blew up 3 times. So just because he had a cat didn't mean it was good and reliable. So that's why it's important, you know, even if you get a cat, put a cat parts, platinum kit, don't juice it up. doesn't matter what it is. You juice it up, you're going to have issues, unless it's like a motorhome or something where you've got no weight, and then you could juice it up and it's probably not going to matter much. But we don't have any Scania dealers in Canada. I drive Kenworth cab over with a cat, never had any problems. Yeah, I mean, old cats it's that same old story. If N14 5.25 better, N14 was a great engine. No RHD. Not sure what RHD is. Who wouldn't want a 389 with an X15? Nothing finer. That's true. What's most horsepower in any Peterbilt sold? That would be the new X600, which is 605 horse. I think the most would have been a C16 or a Signature Series back in the day. But what's X15 series is best paired with 10, 13, and 18 speed full range? You know, that's where it really comes down to when is Mike's workshop going to be built? Well, let me tell you, I better get my button gear, make some better videos to get more subscribers, because it ain't getting built until I improve the revenue stream, because Andrea's kind of a stickler of that. Let me tell you, I'm looking at another truck and she's like, does it run? Do you need it? Why do you need another truck? And I'm like, what do you need another purse? How much you spend on the dog at the vet? Well, actually, that's a difficult one, because, you know, spending money on your dog at the vet, it's why pet insurance, as much as I hate having to pay a monthly payment on pet insurance, it's a lot better than when we've got a dog that's not doing so great now. And let's just say on the weekend, we spent like $1,000. And I think that's why Andrew picked up the dog. One bill was like 400 and the other one was 420. And then they gave us a break on the last one. It was $100. But what do you do when the family dog's sick? So anyways, I shouldn't talk about the family pet on a Cummins channel, but that's how it goes. You know, it's real life. We're live. We're moving. We're shaking. You have 4 cab overs. What else do you need? What else do I need? Hey, if opportunity's knocking, you got to answer the door. And you know what? Maybe I might get to the point where I actually sell some trucks. So, and that's something that I have thought about, because at the end of the day, you know, they're all going to get built up. And I know I'm segueing from my live on Cummins. But so Kenny, I was actually going to drive Kenny to work today, but I was late getting out, and it's raining and would get dirty and I have to wash them. But yeah, so Kenny right now, running, driving, he's licensed, got the dash back together. I'm going to just leave him as is for now. So low and slow, really chassis wise, he's fine. So I just have to get the interior in him, the windshield, and really get the windshield back in him, get him buttoned up so he doesn't leak, can kick his butt outside. And he's good. He's good once I get that done. You know what? He's a workhorse and we can tinker away on him, but it's not like he needs a pile of work. So we get those 2 done. The next thing we got is Stubby for the transmission and get his engine working or idling, whether it's a throttle pedal or whatever. So Stubby won't be too bad. But the big one is going to be K2. So once I get low and slow out of the shop, I'm going to get K2 wheels on him. So he's a roller, strip his arse end down, and do an inventory of the frame to see how it is once the 5th wheel plate's off, and roll him into the shop and start building him, because K2 is going to be the one that's going to be getting all the loving. And we got a transmission. I think I'm going to keep that C15, keep the C15, keep the new 18 speed I have for K2, and then find an engine for him. But like I say, the engine, I think I know where I can get a 440 horse Cummins relatively affordably. So I'm looking at doing that. I'm also, you know, I like the idea of a Signature 600 Cummins because they were horsepower monsters, you know, or a C15, you know. So the engine is still up in the air, but first we got to get him rolling, sandblast the frame, do all that sort of stuff. And he's going to be the big dog getting a lot of attention. So, and when we find a rear clip for Kenny, we're going to stretch him out, but it's not happening right away. And I apologize if you guys are, you know, wanting it to happen right away, but I got to find the right clip, and that's a tough one. And I still think about the tri-drive thing, but I think I want to get K2 running, because I want to get all the trucks running. You know what? Get them all running so they're running and driving, and then we can tiddly. So, and, you know, with K2, the cool thing with getting him running and driving is the fact that we can take and sandblast the frame, do the brakes, you know, put the transmission and put the engine in and do it right the first time, if you know what I mean. I don't want to put stuff in. Like, I don't want to put an engine in without painting the frame. Like, to me, that's like, why would you? Now, and I know some people have said, like, don't just go throw a bunch of chrome on and call it a restoration, because it's not. And I don't know that I would call what I'm doing a restoration, because, you know, I've seen some stuff that guys are doing where it's a restoration. It's like, it's impressive, I got to tell you, because they are, yeah, just fantastic. But anyways, guys, that's it. I've been rambling on for 35 minutes. It's 9:58 a.m. in Canada. I got to run because I got to work at 10 o'clock. So, and one of the executives on there, so I better not be late. But yeah, I hope that shed a little bit of light on the Cummins. And we're going to talk more about the Cummins and the different tiers, and I'll get some slides for you guys. But the key points to remember: efficiency series ends in a 0 horsepower rating. Performance ends with a 5. So remember that. And productivity has a higher RPM. So productivity, think of it, if you're shifting gears, you're going to be more productive because you've got 2000 RPM. And that's the other kicker with efficiency, is it's got a lower max RPM at 1700. So that's also going to affect your jaking, because on an efficiency series, you can only jake from 1700, whereas on a productivity series, you can jake from 2000. I hope that helps. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. That's it for this Tech Talk Tuesday. Have a great day. I'm going to get back to work and sell some more Peterbilt trucks and make life easier for you guys, because at the end of the day, the things that stress me out, make it easier for you guys. So, and that's what it's all about. So helping the customer and getting more Peterbilt trucks on the road, because that's right, there's only one king. And if this sounds like an ad, it's not. It's just, I love Peterbilt. So, which I guess is why I called myself Peterbilt Mike. Although I love cab overs too. So not opposed to a Kenworth or an International. But anyways, guys, take care. Catch you in the next one. And next time I'll try and get this camera working too, because you know what? Would have been beautiful. Just think of how good the video quality would have been. Maybe I'll do another one. Maybe I'll do an update Thursday or a front end Friday. Anyways, guys, take care. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you in the next one. Maybe next Tuesday. Maybe next Saturday. Maybe Friday. Maybe